Hey guys, it's Tara. I'm back again. So this is gonna be, my video's like glitchy. I don't know what's happening. Anyways, this is gonna be like a two-part video type of thing because in the last one I said something and it like triggered, something I need to say about addiction. So we're gonna try to do this addiction series. It might be a little out of order, so I apologize. I'm just going to go with the flow of my brain, which, as we all know, is... So, we're just going to start wherever I just start. And in the last video, I'd said, you know, when you get clean, you really should erase most of the people in your life. Now, let me clarify. I did get clean voluntarily. Okay, I wasn't given an intervention. I wasn't forced through court. I came to the conclusion that I was done and needed help. But in the last video, I did not give props. Getting a new phone and a new phone number was not my idea. It was still a good idea, but I should not take credit for that. When I first decided to get clean, my wonderful, loving family supported me under conditions, which was so smart. Thank you. I am not complaining, okay? And this video is for anyone looking for tips to help an addict to get clean, okay? If an addict has decided they want to get clean, here's a few tips that you can help them. It was my family's decision to get me a new phone and phone number. I was not allowed to have any social media when I got that new phone and new phone number. No Facebook. Instagram wasn't really that big at the time, but it existed. No Instagram. When I was allowed to download Facebook, I had to create a whole new one. I couldn't just log into my old one. Okay, that one's done. I went under a new name, a new picture. Well, not a new name, just my full name. Different than the last Facebook. New picture. My parents checked my Facebook, especially my messages, on the daily. They had to be notified if I got a new friend request or sent one. I got my car privileges taken away. Okay, I did not only force myself at home, my family forced me home, which was good. I shouldn't have been allowed car privileges. I had no trust. They couldn't trust me to take a car by myself anywhere. And I did that to myself. No one's to blame for that. They didn't mistreat me because they didn't trust me. No, I broke that trust. And we had to rebuild. And that meant a lot of rules. A lot of rules. A lot of rules. Which I'm thankful for now, but I hated then. I'm not even going to lie to you about it. It was so frustrating. It was so frustrating. I mean, I couldn't even drive myself to a doctor's appointment. My grandmother, God bless her, my grandmother would drive me to my Suboxone doctor appointment every 2 weeks. She would sit in that waiting room for 3 to 5 hours, however long it would flipping take, because it took forever back in the day. I mean, my appointment could be at 8 o'clock in the morning and us not walk out of there until 4 o'clock that evening and still have to hit the pharmacy. And my grandmother did it. Every 2 weeks, my grandmother did it. It was... Oh, God, I'd say it was about a year in before I was allowed to drive myself. Maybe a little less, but I don't know. It was a minute. It was a minute. I I remember going to the doctor and my therapist realizing that I had the car keys in my hand. And God, I had a good counselor, y'all. He was so happy for me that I had earned enough trust. Ooh, cat wants out. That I'd earned enough trust from my family to be able to be allowed to be given the trust to take a car. You know, I mean, it seems so small, but it's major. It's major. I don't know how long it was before the phone, my cell phone, it was a minute before I was allowed to have Facebook. It was a minute before I was allowed to it was a minute before I had freedom in any sense. And that's not a bad thing. I didn't deserve freedom. I didn't. Freedom was a scary problem. And it is for most addicts, you know. There has to be structure when you're beginning recovery. Now, whether that's through a rehab, whether that's through your family caring enough to, no matter how old you are. I mean, I was 5 years. I was 29. I was 29 at the time, okay? I was grown. I was 29. But I wasn't acting grown. I wasn't acting grown. I was acting like a dumb little kid brat. And deserved to be treated as such. And that's what they did. And I don't blame them. I thank them tremendously for it. It's exactly what needed to happen for me. I'm not saying that this is going to work with everybody, okay? No. All addicts are different. All recovery looks different, okay? This is just what my loving, caring family did for me to know in their heart and their head that they gave me the best chance. Now, it was still my decision. If I wanted to, I could have broke those rules. If I wanted to, I could have just walked out and hitchhiked. I've done it numerous times. If I wanted to, you know, I'm sure I could have wiggled my way out of my parents finding out I had Facebook or whatever. But I genuinely wanted to be clean. Now, did I always agree with what they were doing? No. It was frustrating as shit, okay? I was a 29-year-old woman, only by number, that couldn't even drive herself to the gas station. I couldn't even drive, I couldn't drive to my own doctor's appointment. I wasn't allowed to have Facebook on my phone. It was frustrating. But it was just as frustrating for them because now they were my taxi drivers. They had to babysit my every damn move at 29 years old. Literally. All the money that would have been in this house was put up, like, hid. I don't even know where. I never went looking, but I know it was hidden. You know, there was rules laid out in place for me and structure. And I feel bad that I know not everyone has a support system like that. And I'm so unbelievably sorry for that. Because without my family and the support system they have put around me, I don't know if any of this would have worked. But I'll tell you, 5 years ago, I did not see myself sitting here off Suboxone and clean. I wanted it, but just because you want something doesn't mean that it's easy enough to obtain. And when you're an addict, you look for the easy way out, okay? Like, let me just keep it real with you. Even though being an addict can be real hard sometimes, but it is essentially the easy way out from dealing with whatever is going on. You escape through the drugs. So, you know, when I talk, I'm talking a big game, like I changed all this shit about my life. No, 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 no. There was plenty of people behind the scenes that made sure I changed all this shit about my life. Because there was not gonna be any mishaps this time, okay? My parents, my grandmother, my family, my immediate close family, I've put through this for 15 years. This was not my first rodeo trying to get clean. This was not my first time in a treatment program. This was not my first time saying, hey, I want help. It wasn't. Far from it. Far from it. Guys, we're talking 15 years of this shit, okay? They'd heard this 10 million times before. But I had to show them. And they had to protect me and the idea that I really wanted this. And in order to protect that, they had to put in some strict guidelines. You know, I wouldn't even say they're rules, because it wasn't rules. It was, this is what you got to do. We're not going to take any less. If this is what you really want, we're going to help you, but you're going to work with us. This is going to be, you know, we're not going to do it for you. Like, you're going to do your part, we're going to do our part. And if you're living under our house, you're living under our rules, and this is the rules that we feel is necessary to protect you for right now. And A+. A+. You know, I said in the last video that it had a lot of cons, and it does, in just the, that separation of being social. You know, I wasn't allowed to go out. I wasn't allowed to just go hang with friends. There was only like 2 people I was allowed to walk out of this house with, okay? But other than family. There was 2 people, do you hear me? 2. Jeremy and Nikki, 2 of my best friends. They were the only 2 people I was allowed to leave this home with. Period. Because they have been around forever and ever and ever. My family trusts them. Our families are good friends. Me and that person are good friends. They're trustworthy people. Period. Okay? So, did it isolate me? Yes. For a good reason? Yes. But, it's hard to come back from that. You know, I'm a social person. My parents are both social. Very charismatic. My mom and my dad both can equally just about talk to anybody, and especially my dad. My dad will strike up with a conversation with Joe Blow over there, and they'll be talking for 2 damn hours before you know it. I got the gift of gab from both sides of my parents. So when you're used to that, and then you're isolated, even if isolation's for a good reason, it's hard to get back in. And once they let up on the isolation, I kind of didn't, because then I was so out of the loop. I didn't have any friends anyways. I got clean. That's mostly the people I talked to. I did decide to cut them off with the help of my family changing my phone and stuff. But, like, we came to that conclusion together. Now, the car, we did not. The car rule was not mine. It was not my idea. I hated it. I'm not even going to lie to you. Did it work? Yes. Did I hate it? Yes. It just sucks to get that freedom taken away. Yes. Did I decide to change my phone number? Yes. Did I love that? No, because I realized very quickly that I had no one to talk to. Now, given, when I first decided I wanted to get clean, I was in my 13-year relationship, so I did have a very serious, what I thought was very serious relationship. We still talked, of course, but also, that brings me to another thing. You know, I was in a relationship for 13 years, and we split up just a little while after I started Suboxone. And because we had went through addiction together, He was also on Suboxone. I was just a little more serious. We just had a little bit of a different outlook on what Suboxone was supposed to do for us. For him, it was literally just, it keeps me from being sick and I can still take extra and feel high, so it's a win-win. For me, it was, this is going to get me clean and I want to take the least amount possible so that when I come off of it, I won't feel so bad. Some people, we've talked about this. This is Gatorade, sorry. You know, we've talked about this. Some people use methadone clinics and Suboxone treatment as just a legal way to get high. And they give us all a bad name, and it really just blows. It blows. It blows. It blows. And unfortunately, he was kind of like that. Now, not to the extreme of some of the people I know. But he was just kind of looking at it as, I don't have to go out and worry about my drugs every day, and I can still feel good at the same time. And you know what? And that's fine. That's fine. If that's where he was at, that's fine. It's not where I was at. And it became a major problem, because then he would come up short on his Suboxone, and he'd be sick for a few days, or he'd want to take my Suboxone, so he wouldn't be sick for a couple days, even though it was his fault he was out of his Suboxone. It's just, I'm a little resentful. It's okay. I know it's been 5 years. I need to get past it. I'm working on it. It's not easy. It was a long time of built up shit to unpack. But, so my person that I was talking about then left. You know, we broke up. We were not seeing eye to eye. We had been having problems for years. I should have ended it long before I did. Would have saved me a whole lot of struggle. But I didn't. I was madly, madly in love. I didn't see my future with absolutely anyone else. Absolutely not. Absolutely not did I see my future with anyone else. And I'd put in all this time and work and energy and love. And to end that at around the same time that I quit drugs was devastatingly hard. Because there went my one person that could relate to me in any type of way. Even though he was not around when I was little, he did know all those stories. He knew where my personality came from, where my insecurities about things came from. He knew all that because we had had 13 years together, you know? And like I said, he was my future. So I was 100% comfortable telling him these things because he was the only person I was ever gonna tell these things to. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I really felt. So to lose my person at the same time I lost my drugs was, it was a nightmare. Because then I was isolated. I had no one to talk to. And I'd lost my partner, which was my person to talk to. You know, that was who I relied on. That was who I did text in a crisis. That is who I laid my heart out to. And now, you know, then he was gone. And it was just a nightmare. It was a nightmare. But, you know, I don't want to take full credit for, like, me saying I did all these great things to get myself clean. No, it was not just me. My family played such a massive role. Oh, my God, such a massive role. A better example, I wasn't allowed to go to the bathroom and shut the door. I was not allowed to go to the bathroom and shut the door because they couldn't even trust me to do that. What if I was in there snorting a pill? What if I was in there trying to shoot up? I mean, there was a rhyme and reason for everything they did, and I completely understand it, and I'm so thankful it worked. I just wanted to make it very clear that I alone am not solely to be recognized in getting me clean. There's a lot of hands in that basket to help someone get there. And I don't want to shortchange anything my family did for me, whether I liked it or not, whether we fought about it or not, because obviously it was the right thing to do, because here we are. No matter how lonely I am, no matter how bad things feel, they're better than they used to be. Jesus, Lord, have mighty on my soul, they're better than they used to be. No matter how lonely or how down or how depressed I feel now, doesn't even hold a shadow to how bad and intense it felt when I was in addiction. Because in addiction, you really feel alone. More so than I ever think I could now. So I will forever be grateful for those horrible rules that worked from my family, and the support that they've always given me, no matter how awful I've been. And yeah, we all get lonely. We all feel this way. We all get in funks. But you know what? When I go to bed tonight, a new day will be here tomorrow. And it may be a little better. Or it may be a little worse. It may be a little worse, but it's not as bad as it used to be. And that's the focus. There is no amount of loneliness, I don't think, that I could feel right now that could be any worse than the times that I thought of just overdosing. On purpose. Just, why not? It's better than this. And when I told y'all in a couple of videos ago that my dog really is the reason I'm sitting here, I wish I could look at you and tell you I was kidding. I wish I could tell you that it was my family that stopped me, and I mean, they did a little, because I didn't want them to find me. I didn't want them to be, I didn't want that to be the last thing they remembered. But there was a few points in time, that I honestly thought they would be better off without me. I wouldn't be a burden. They wouldn't have to worry. They wouldn't have to stress. I wouldn't upset them anymore. I wouldn't hurt them anymore. And it was my dog. Like, my dog needed me, you know? My dog was my dog. She was my first adult dog that I ever had on my own. And yes, as much as I didn't want to do that to my family, 90% of the time it was my dog. It was my dog that kept me from doing it. So I love my family. There was just times that I really thought they would be better off without me. Without the stress, without the worry, without the burden. You know, there's times as an addict that you feel like you are such a burden to everyone around you that it really would be better if you left. Even though it would hurt them dearly to lose you, in the end, when you're an addict, you really feel like, okay, they'll get over that hurt, and then they'll be so relieved that you're no longer a burden on their lives, that they can enjoy life more. Even though I know that's not true in my heart, but that's how you feel in those moments. And it was my dog, guys. It was my dog. And that's why it's been so hard to lose her. But I'm dealing better with it. I miss her. I miss her greatly. But I'm not going to talk about that. I just wanted to get into this video and kind of correct myself on the last video. I'll try to make sure this one goes up second. sometimes they upload faster and the second one ends up being the first one, and then it's all confusing as shit. I'll upload the first one, then I'll upload this one when it's completely done. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. My family did so much for me, and they did a lot of the hard work, and they deserve the credit. Bye.